All right, good evening. This is the Town of East Lyme Board of Selectmen notice of public hearing regarding the adoption of an ordinance entitled Establishment of a Grants Fund. And we are receiving information, comments from the public. So I will, should I read this whole thing?
Yeah.
All right.
Here,
You gonna read it?
Yeah, I just got to find it.
Oh, here.
Let me just give it to you. Thanks. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing to be held by the East Lyme Board of Selectmen at 7 p.m. on March 6, 2024 at the East Lyme Town Hall, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, to consider the adoption of the following ordinance. Establishment of a grants fund. There is established within the East Lyme General Fund a, quote, grants fund. The grants fund shall continue year to year without lapsing unless terminated by the Board of Selectmen. The purpose of the grants fund is to hold grant funds received by the town of East Lyme in a central location in order to facilitate efficient and accurate tracking and accounting of said funds, and to enable the finance director to more readily and efficiently report on the status and use of grant funds to the sources of those funds when required by law or the terms of a particular grant. The finance director, under the supervision and direction of the Board of Finance, shall have custody of the grants fund. Further, the finance director shall, A, upon the receipt of grant funds by the town of East Lyme, deposit or otherwise place said funds into the grants fund, unless said funds are required by law or the terms of a particular grant to be deposited elsewhere. B, disperse funds from the grants fund for purposes authorized by law and the terms of the source grant for the funds dispersed. C, account for the status and use of said funds within the grants fund. D, prepare reports for grant providers as required by law or the terms of a source grant concerning the status and use of grant funds. Whenever such reports are prepared, a copy shall be sent to the Board of Finance for information purposes as part of the Board of Finance's supervision and direction of the finance director's management of the grants fund. 4, annually on or before September 30th, the finance director shall submit a report to the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance, providing a summary of the grants fund for the fiscal year most recently ending. Such summary shall identify the total amount of grant funds received by the town of East Lyme, list the sources of those funds, identify the total amount of grant funds carried into the new fiscal year, and any such other information as the finance director, in his or her discretion, deems necessary and appropriate. Copies of the text of this notice is on file for public inspection at the office of the East Lyme Town Clerk, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, and at www.eltownhall.com, to which reference may be had. Interested persons are invited to attend and be heard. Dated at East Lyme, Connecticut, on this 21st day of February, 2024.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So, is there anyone that would like to comment to the Board of Selectmen regarding this fund, the grants fund? Is there anyone that would like to comment to the Board of Selectmen? Would anyone like to be heard and comment to the Board of Selectmen? Being none, do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, we've concluded the public hearing. I will now gavel us out, and now I'm going to gavel us back in to the East Lyme Board of Selectmen regular meeting of March 6th, 2024, East Lyme Town Hall, upper meeting room. We already recited the Pledge of Allegiance earlier tonight at our earlier meeting. So, are there any additional agenda and consent calendar items?
I'd like to move agenda item number 3C, budget discussions and deliberations.
All right. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. That motion carries, so that's been added to our agenda. Are there any public delegations tonight that would like to comment and address the Board of Selectmen? It appears that there are none. We will turn our attention now to approval of the minutes. A special budget meeting of February 15th, 2024. Do I hear? Go ahead.
Move to approve the special meeting minutes of February 15th, 2024 as submitted.
I'll second.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Candace. Any commentary or changes? Being none, those in favor of accepting the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
I'll move to approve the special meeting minutes of February 21st, 2024 as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Candace. Any discussion? Any changes to the minutes? All right, being none, do I signify by saying aye?
Aye.
All right. Those opposed? Being none, motion carries.
Move to approve the regular meeting minutes of February 21st, 2024 as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. Being none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. That motion carries. And I think there was a public hearing. Do we have to?
Oh,
I guess we don't. Those aren't.
I thought it did that, didn't I? Public hearing minutes?
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all set.
Yeah, we did all of them.
We did all of them. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay.
Okay, we can turn our attention now to section E, the consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar for March 6, 2024 in the amount of $2,068.46.
All right, and it doesn't appear there's anything on there that would require special interest or looking into it further. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. All right. Any discussion? Being done, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There are none, so that carries the consent calendar. Now, are there new business? Are there any department transfers? I'm not sure that
There are not.
There are none.
Not,
Okay.
well, there are, but not this week.
But not for tonight. So we will just mark that off our calendar, our agenda. Do we have appointments to boards and commissions?
Move to appoint Reza Spaziani of 9 Cove Drive, Niantic, to serve as a member on the Board of Police Commissioners on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 5th, 2026.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? There was a brief letter in the packet tonight from Ms. Spaziani. All right. If there's no further discussion, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Being none? All right. Welcome to the Police Commission.
Move to appoint Marissa Katz, care of Salem Schools, 200 Hartford Road, Salem, to serve as a non-voting member on the Youth, Family, and Human Services Commission on behalf of the town of Salem, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
If you might like to comment on why we're appointing a Salem member,
It's part
somebody
of
from Salem.
that commission.
For the Youth and Family Services?
Yes, it's written that they will have a seat for a Salem representative. And a few weeks ago, we had appointed someone else who vacated the seat, and someone else came on.
So this is replacing that?
To my
Right.
knowledge,
Other person,
yes.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I have.
And I assume this person has also been appointed by Salem? Because we don't normally appoint Salem residents.
Okay.
No,
Well, if-
to this commission, it's written that there's a Salem rep.
Right,
In-
but I
in
would
the right
assume
way.
that Salem would choose who their representative was, is what I'm saying, as opposed to us.
Oh,
Well,
I don't know.
Question.
That's a good question.
Well, they're a non-voting member,
They are a non-voting
Yeah.
member.
appointed non-voting member.
Great job, Jason. I don't know. I don't have the answer on that. Do you want to table it?
Well, we did set precedents just a few
What's
weeks
that?
ago by doing it.
What's that?
We did set precedents just a few weeks ago with voting on a Salem rep.
That's a good
who
point.
happened to be Kim Reith,
yeah.
and
So this person's in the same status. Okay. All right.
And it was in the, was it ordinance or the, whatever we passed
Yeah,
to,
it
to
was,
form the Youth and Family
Right.
Services
That
Commission?
anyway.
It was in there.
So it passed muster last time, so I think we're on good ground then.
Mhm.
Mr. Cunningham, I think there are 2 other police commissioners supposed to be done tonight. Okay.
Yep.
I just was
We will.
worried we wouldn't have
Yep.
quorum.
Yep,
No,
we're getting there.
Thank you, sorry.
no,
It's a
thank you,
list.
Dan. Okay, so, we have a second. Any further discussion? All right, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So, any abstentions? All right, so the motion carries.
Move to appoint Dan Price to serve as a member on the Board of Police Commissioners on behalf of the town of East Lyme with a term to expire on January 3rd, 2028.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Candace. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Being none, motion carries.
Move to appoint Joseph Perkins to serve as a member on the Board of Police Commissioners on behalf of the town of East Lyme with a term to expire on January 3rd, 2028.
Do I hear a second?
I'll
Second.
Okay, thank you, Roseanne. Okay, any discussion? All right, if you're in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so I think that takes care of all of the appointments, is that right?
Then we have the budget, it looks
The
like.
grant, oh, yes,
We put the budget back in there,
yeah,
under 3C.
okay, so, yeah, so we can turn our attention now to the remaining items in the budget book. And welcome to, everyone, welcome to stay as we do this.
Are we going back to where we left off?
Yeah, so
We were on Aging and Commission of Aging.
So I
We're
think we're
gonna-
gonna keep,
Yeah.
we're gonna skip over
Yeah.
that,
skip over that
Yeah.
and move on.
and then we'll go to health, the welfare,
What number?
419. Health and welfare, health and humanity.
We're gonna have a discussion about this?
Yeah, I guess we'll, any comments on this? The,
Is this position
Excuse me,
affected by the change that L&M had in staffing nurses?
yeah, I'm not sure what the,
No, are you referring to the Board of Ed? Or no?
this is
Yes.
yeah, the 419,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, it's not. I don't believe that it's.
okay.
it impacted the Board of Ed.
Only.
Their budget, but not this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is separate.
This is something we pay into the Visiting Nurse Association, and they just cover our town, basically.
Yeah, the various community side, senior center,
Yeah,
so that increase.
Yeah, blood pressure clinics, health promotion activities.
The VNA is handling that.
So the last bill we got was for about $1,000. Sometimes there's a little 600, so they average out about $800, $9,600 annually. So that's what we budgeted, right around $10,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me.
Not much else to talk about, I don't think. We good with this?
Well, you said 10,000? Because it says here 12,000.
It's 12,
I think it was cut back, wasn't
it's 12,000.
it? It was cut. The first selectman we cut it $2,000.
We cut them 2,000?
We cut it to 10,000 back, yeah,
Okay, mine,
based on actuals.
So this says here
12.
12. So
It doesn't have that $2,000 cut in it.
Okay, so we have
Do
to
we need to
change.
make a motion? then?
It was under the first selectman's adjustments. It's in the master worksheet.
Okay, all right,
so-
understood.
So we're okay on this
Yeah,
one?
okay.
I
Yep.
didn't see that, okay.
Yep.
So we cut that back 2,000
We cut it back 2,000
Perfect.
based on actuals.
on
Okay.
actuals.
Correct.
Let me just do
Thank you.
that. Thanks, Kevin.
And then the library, I don't know if you have the cut in that book as well. That wasn't a cut. It looks like a cut. They overestimated pension. They pay into the pension. It was we initially gave them a number that was much higher. Did I jump
We don't
ahead?
have a library.
You don't have a
We
library?
have culture and.
It's,
Yeah, it's nothing in it.
Okay,
There's nothing
I
you
will,
guys get it?
Nope.
Nothing, no.
let me see if, I was working with Lisa Timothy. Let me see if I got the updated one.
Yeah, I went to the library meeting the other night and they said that, I guess, there was no reason for them to come and present to us that.
It's relatively flat.
Yeah.
Dan, do you have anything more to add? I mean,
No,
there was
they're
nothing to
all
cut. The only thing that was discussed was the only cut was to the pension contribution,
Okay.
based on the actuals. So
okay.
there was no cut there.
All right, then we'll go to 421, 422, Parks and Recreation and Commission Youth Services. I don't see, yeah, we did,
Now, we had a proposed reduction there from 2020. The department had request.
Where is this?
this
What
is
number are you?
421,
Under,
yeah.
under what number though?
412.
412, part-time seasonal, we reduced it. We're hoping that they can make do with, we increased it from 2024, but we didn't give them as much as they had requested, hoping that we can still maintain the services we need. We had a long discussion on it.
Okay. So we don't need to make a motion?
No,
Okay.
And the next line also shows a reduction in the payroll.
Mm,
yeah.
okay.
Park and field maintenance. Try to reduce that a little bit. That's pretty much it. Any other comments?
311, considering that we had that fairly extensive discussion on Board of Ed on the artificial turf, I'm just wondering, under the maintenance payroll, how the turf specialist fits into the Board of Ed discussion. Do we have other turf fields?
We have turf fields down at.
To my knowledge, not at this moment.
No,
You mean AstroTurf?
Tourette's is just a regular field, right?
Right.
It's just dirt.
But we do have Jerry here.
Yeah.
And also, I believe we also may have a question. I know it's not the time, I don't know how that works, but I do know that Jerry is here, so he can.
Jerry, did you want to address that? Sure. Yeah.
So the question was on a turf specialist, is that what you said?
Yes.
So a turf specialist is somebody who specializes in growing grass. I know lots of time a common use of turf is artificial turf, like on the field at the high school. We don't have anything to do with that. So the turf specialist that we have is a specialist in growing grass on athletic fields.
Oh, no.
Actual real turf. Right? Kind of gross.
Okay.
Is that,
So while we're talking about grass, Jerry and the guys are great, and they mow at the Samuel Smith House and at Brookside and Thomas Lee. And it's not in the budget anywhere. And if there were a possibility to pay for their time, as they take wonderful care of the properties which are owned by the town, this may be a little late to add, but it would be appreciated because they do it out of generosity now.
Oh, I see. I see.
okay. So, yeah, where would that be?
That's under 311, the second line down.
311.
I think
Maintenance.
the maintenance payroll.
Am I looking at the wrong line?
There's two 311s, Dan.
Right here.
Flip over to the next page.
Maintenance payroll. Oh, maintenance payroll. Okay, it's 311.
311.
Oh, there's another 311. All right, okay.
Oh, you're right, there is. There's two 311s.
Maybe that's maybe it should be 313? No, I don't know.
Union payroll
There's multiple
administration.
311s.
And
What?
311 is just a designation of
Oh,
union
okay,
payroll.
gotcha. All right.
So there's the clerical
Understood.
union members,
I
then
got
there's
you.
the field, you know,
Oh, all right.
in the field
Understood.
union
Gotcha.
members.
All right.
So is this actually falling under 350 where park and field and maintenance, you requested 57.6 and his proposed was 50,000? So is that where these properties fall into play or no?
So yes, we did, we requested some increases in a couple of different accounts. If you look at what Kevin's got his cursor on there, part-time seasonal,
Okay.
we did request additional part-time seasonal. The next line down was an additional full-time position that was reduced in our discussions with the first selectman. And so that's actually the personnel. The part down at the bottom where you were mentioning about maintenance for park and field maintenance, that's more of the supplies and stuff that we use to maintain those things. So up top, it's the personnel, down below is the supplies.
Okay.
And as was mentioned, you know, our resources are stretched, and our ability to handle things like the historical properties or doing extra work along Pennsylvania Avenue or whatnot, those things are things that you know, are arguably nice to haves that we don't have the capacity to do. You know, the department request was requesting funds to do all of those things, but you know, like I say, that's a decision that, you know, the first selectman and the board of finance get to make about what the town can afford. So
Now, are you taking care of any Board of Ed fields?
no, we don't take care of any Board of Ed fields. We have Board of Ed use of parks for, you know, varsity and JV sports and things like that, but no, we don't go maintain any of their properties.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're trying to shave where we can and still maintain the best we can. It's a difficult process.
Well, I think where the comment was made, and I just want to speak to it because I think that the concern is there, right? So if we're essentially shaving off of, you know, their abilities, will they still have the time and the ability to be very generous to take care of the other properties? I guess, is that accurate?
Well, I mean, we did, 2024 was 37, if you're looking at line 350,
Yep.
it was 37.9, and we went up to 50,000. So we did, you know, we did give them
Okay.
an increase. Any further discussion? All right, then we'll turn to 425, Youth and Family Services. Youth and,
So is this the decision then that we're asking them to continue to provide that service, which they're doing voluntarily, and that's included in the increase that we just decided on?
yeah, hopefully they'll have they can squeeze the additional resources to still service those properties. We did, and we went from 37.9 to 50,000, which is, and we didn't keep it flat, but
Well, I'm just going to throw it out there. So what if they can't? What if they don't have the ability to maintain those properties the way that they have been, which is very nice and very generous? What if they don't?
then I guess they won't have as often a mowing as,
Okay.
no, I mean, I'd be realistic, if they don't have the resources, they don't have it. I mean, it's important, but we have to, you know, try to cut some places where maybe we can make do, and maybe it'll be adequate and won't be perfect.
Has Park and Rec always maintained those properties, those historic properties? If you don't mind me asking, I want to probe a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew, but they've always done Samuel Smith. I don't know what they own.
So the Park and Rec, the requests that the department made and the Board of Selectmen, or the first selectman made, were focused on park activities. So, you know, when we're asking about historical properties, that's something we've kind of fit in as we've been able to do, at least in my time here, and I think that goes back to my predecessor's time as well. But there isn't any specific funding in this budget to maintain historical properties. That does not exist. There, if we can get to it, we'll do our best.
It's not gonna
But
be priority, I understand.
the request in this budget was just what it takes to maintain the responsibilities that Park and Rec have. And those responsibilities have actually increased, and we even maintain properties that aren't parks, maintaining town hall, maintaining the public safety building, things on Niantic Main Street. Those are not parks, but those are responsibilities that have kind of been added to the department. So the increases that were requested in the budget were not to maintain historical properties. They were to kind of do the things that we've been assigned to do. So, yeah, I think, it's
Yeah.
a
And that's where
tight
your
spot.
priorities will be, I understand. I felt the need to say it publicly.
Well, a lot of our Parks and Rec people are older town folk who've lived here a long time, and I think they kind of try to do this as a service to the town, help out the town.
Sure.
But it's been informal.
I see,
Understanding it hasn't, they've done it as they could fit in.
sure.
I think that's a fair assessment, Jared.
I'm not sure. The department supports, other town departments or other town enterprises like, historic properties or the water department or whatever. We do those things as we're able to do, but they're not included in our budget. No.
Any further questions? Thank you, Jerry. All right, are we ready to turn to 425, Youth, Family, and Human Services? I think we've been over this before. Any questions about where we stand now on this budget?
So I wanted to make a motion on Youth, Family, and Human Services, Department 425. Move that for Department 425, Youth, Family, and Human Services, line item 311, program coordinator be reduced by $21,500 to a total of $36,000. This would be for 24 hours a week, starting July 1st, 2024.
Oh, boy. I think that we had spoken when they were here, and I had asked for it to go up to 80% because they had requested 103, and then the first selectman had taken it down to 57, and I had asked if we could add to 80%. So,
Just for the sake of protocol, I'll second the motion.
Well,
Okay,
thank
have a
you.
second.
Okay.
Thank you, Jason. All right, so let's have some additional discussion here. So, it's a new department. We don't know yet exactly what demands are going to be made on that department. I'm trying to ease into it a little bit, and we've added a director, and we've got some part-time seasonal help. I think we have to just kind of ease into it a little more, and hopefully, 57.5 for secretarial administration. They'll be able to make do with that, and it'll be adequate.
and again, it will be underneath this threshold that seems to be the theme this evening, without benefits. Is that accurate?
Is the 57.5, I believe, is that right? That would be under the,
No, not the 57.
No, my motion was for, to reducing
Oh.
that down to 36,000.
36 even, Ian?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay.
So it was reduced by $21,500, so that would be 24 hours.
it'll be 24
week.
hours?
Just make sure it all ties
Is
back.
that right, Kevin?
Yep, so
Check my math.
just so everyone, our little spreadsheet here so we can tie back to
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
The director's salary across the top. The wellness, it's labeled program administrator, whatever that's the catch-all. The name of the job left is wellness/prevention coordinator. That's the one we're talking about.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
So the cut was to $36,000, so it was a $21,500 cut. The column all the way to the right is what is left. So currently we have the open center supervisor still in the budget, the open center leaders still in the budget, and one counselor is in the budget. So the second counselor was cut and the full-time case manager was cut.
So the case man, okay.
So these two positions were,
And so how many hours will be left on the coordinator? That'll be 24?
it'll be, was and I just want to clarify, was it to cut 36 or was it to cut it to 36?
Cut two.
230, okay, so we cut it by 21.5. Okay, just want to make sure, the $15,000 difference.
And just refresh my memory too, because I thought that this was also attached to the wait list. Remember we talked about the wait list, and I had asked her how many kids were on the wait list, and she had told me about 12 or 13 kids were on the wait list, and that would help offset with hours, because that was what that, to my recollection, that's what she was asking for. And we talked more about, you know, again, those are kids that are in our community, so investment. And I think that that's why I had asked for the 80% and not,
And now it's going the other way.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, given it is, it's a new program,
Right.
you know, this gives them the ability to, you know, put in for grants that they would not have been able to, prior. So there's quite a bit of money that they have plans on putting in for with grant writing and that kind of thing. But, I do think that coming out of the gate with this new program, when they had first come to the Board of Selectmen prior to the setup now, that was the intent. I remember and recall them speaking to it. And at that time, I thought that everyone was pretty on board for that. So if you can't do the full one, but I'm seeing an underlying theme here of trying to keep, you know, employees underneath that threshold, and I get that too. So
I'm just trying to save money where we can. I feel
Agreed.
like we spent a big chunk of change on this, and I'm just trying to say, okay, let's start them out slow, and then when they come next year, if they say, look, we really have this, we need this.
but we're not fully funding them. I mean, they're
No, I
being
understand.
funded
I'm just saying,
by
yeah.
grants and that kind of thing.
I think, you know, we need to see what they're able to do grant-wise, and we need to see what the demand is gonna be for their services. This is a new, you know, commission and, or service, and we need to step into it, I think, a little slower. And hopefully, you know, they'll do great things, and they'll be able to justify an expansion in the next budget, but I think they need to prove what they can do a little bit.
So now also, I mean, and I just have to say it, so the way that this kind of rolled out was the department had requested $103,000. The selectmen proposed $57,500. And then, right as we start to talk about it, Ann made a motion to decrease it again. And now there's a motion on the board with a first and a second without any kind of dialogue prior, where, you know, I would prefer to actually, if I can't get it to go up to 80%, than to stick with what you proposed, which was the half. And now there's really no option other than taking a vote and seeing where that goes, because there's already been a motion on it.
Well, let's
Very
look
quickly.
at this. This is 2005.
Yep.
They got, from 2024, they had 56,000. The department had requested 103,000. That's quite a jump.
To full-time to accommodate the need.
But let's just think about last night's session for the Board of Ed and how much money we're putting in their budget for these special services.
Similar.
And is this the same group of individuals? I mean, this is the same age category as to what we're already spending a tremendous amount of money for in the school system?
I think seeing this model operate in other towns, there is a certain overlap between the education department, or the Board of Education, and Youth and Family Services, in a kind of a synergistic way. They benefit from working with each other. School counselors are also completely overwhelmed and swamped. Not in our town, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, and here too, I'm sure.
So there is a kind of a reinforcement aspect for both of these guys to work together, and I've seen it work very, very well, very organic.
Oh, there's no, and I completely agree. I mean, we have a wonderful partnership with the East Lyme Board of Education, and it very well could be. It would be great if there was someone here to possibly speak on it, because I think it's great questions to pose, but we don't have anyone, unfortunately.
Do we have a second to
We do have a second.
to Ian's motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, why don't we vote on that, and then
Let's see where it goes.
you can throw your motion out.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to reduce the line item of 311 to 36,000. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unopposed. All right, so motion carries.
Was it 4-2?
I'm sorry, what did you say, Kevin?
It was,
I didn't know if it was.
okay. All right, any further discussion on that budget? We're going to talk about debt service, no, not debt service. Let's see. Do we want to talk about the capital improvement plan now?
Are we? Okay.
And then all we have left for our next meeting is,
Dan, do you want to do 114? We didn't touch 114
oh,
yet.
yes.
Yeah. And that's just, now that we've done all the salary adjustments, we can.
Yeah.
Well, but we haven't done Commission on Aging. Does it make sense then to do 114?
No, because neither of the positions we're talking about are benefited.
Okay,
So it's okay.
got
if
it.
we,
Thank you.
All right. So, I'll let you do your magic, Kevin, with the changes.
The only one we're gonna talk about, the FICA Medicare number might change a smidge, since we've reduced a few of the salary lines, but I've got to recalculate that. It's really this, the line we're going to look at tonight is the healthcare and dental, since we've,
127.
yep, so down here we can see our new hire listing of who we were going to add. So I think we left the firefighter 11 in.
Yeah.
The fire admin assistant got cut back. So let me just zero that one out. $29,000 we saved. HR admin also got cut back, correct? Yep. 29,000. And then the wellness prevention, what happened with that one? We cut that back.
36.
We cut it back to 36, but was the idea to cut it back to a part-time position, right? To 28 hours?
24.
Okay, or well, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's gone. And then IT engineer, I think we left in, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah.
That was left in,
one,
so,
yep.
so we have two positions that we're gonna pay benefits for. So our new total is 2268, 142. Let me see if my spreadsheet talked to itself.
So wait, so line 127, the new total is what, 2?
2268, 142.
Okay.
And I don't have the other number in front of me.
That
So
helped us a
that's-
little bit.
I think that's over $100,000.
Okay. Any other changes? That's a good,
In there. So it is, the new number is. Two two six eight one four two. $107,000 we cut.
How much?
We didn't talk about the other. We did talk last night. So do you want to go through the rest of the 114 because we didn't touch?
Yeah, that's, yep.
Okay, so that was the only cut I really had for that one to make.
Okay.
Make to make adjustments on.
Which one is that?
That was the health insurance line.
127. So then, is there anything else we need to address at 114?
Just if you guys wanted to talk about the legal services, if there's anything there.
Do I need to make a motion on that, though? I just realized.
Yeah,
Or no?
we probably should.
Okay, so.
Yeah, even though it was like
I don't have the numbers reduced by that.
Well, we made a motion on the others to like reduce the salaries, so what, do you think we need another motion to remove these from the budget? Is that
Because
what
this
you're
is dependent on the others, right? This
Yeah,
kind
but since we're making, it's a $100,000 cut, I mean,
all right,
I think it might
You
just be
think you
best
would just
to,
have,
see what
just to
happens.
cover,
yeah.
Yeah.
cover
All
everyone.
right, so do you have the,
is it 107,000 each?
$107,324.
Hold on. Okay, I gotta think about this for a minute. Okay, move that in Department 114, Government Miscellaneous and Benefits, move item 127, Health/Dental Care, to reduce the amount by $107,324 to a, brings it down to $2,268,142.
okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. All right. Any further discussion? All right, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. All right. All right, I think, does that conclude our discussion on 114? Is there anything else we need to?
Did you have anything else, Kevin?
That's it for
That's
the
it?
operating. I think we really had. Now it's
Okay.
the only other thing we think we should talk about while we're looking at this budget. Let me scroll to the bottom here so everyone's, while we're talking about capital, we just have to be cognizant of this the gap we have. So for cash capital,
Where are
We
we
bu-
looking?
Where are we
so
Sorry.
this is at the 724. It's in the very last page of not the whole budget book, and the front part, the master worksheet there, the expenditure part. Correct. I just wanted to just 2 seconds. So we're budgeting for $750,000 of cash capital.
This thing?
We're looking at this, right?
Yep. Yeah. All I was just trying to tell you. You don't even have to look at it.
Okay.
All you need to know is the number that we're budgeting in the operating is $750,000 for cash capital.
Okay.
When I pull up the, I gotta pull it up here. When I pull up the bond spreadsheet, the capital project spreadsheet, you'll notice that number is over $2 million. So that's what we kind of have to reconcile between those two numbers. So cash capital needs over here to the right, this right-hand column, we have $2,750,000. So we have to adjust either more of that to bonding, take out another lease. You know, that's kind of a conversation we have to have, as opposed to cutting or adding capital projects.
Okay.
So
So that's on our,
that
long
long
sheet.
paper, correct,
Okay,
correct.
let's look at that.
I can print new ones if anyone wants one.
No, she's just
Hang
trying to
on, I'm
find it.
just-
She wants to see it.
Yeah, I'm just kind of lost here. Are we, so
We're
we're
looking
going
now
back to
at the,
long sheet?
yeah,
Okay.
we're looking at the capital, capital plan.
I have mine somewhere.
It was like a legal size.
I know, I've got everything here. Give
You
me
can
a
just
sec.
take the one that's right there. Go ahead.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay.
I
All right.
have all of mine. Here's mine. Thank you.
Okay.
So direct us.
All right. So, did everyone understand what I was talking about? Cash capital versus bonding versus leasing?
Yes.
Okay. So, do we want to just go over from the top down?
Okay.
General government, we can do like sections at a time. Is that how you guys want to tackle it?
Yes.
Okay. Health and Safety Committee, AED replacements in the building. So I imagine this will be an every couple year kind of ask when we deplete that. The planning and zoning vehicle was cut out by the first selectman. The engineering department gets their AutoCAD software and various equipment there. Every year we keep funding the assessment reval reserve. In 2025, the next reval starts. The registrars were asking for new ballot machines, and then I believe there was discussions about a grant source for that, so we took that out of the budget. you'll see this a couple times, the radio replacement. This is the IT portion
Yeah.
of the radio tower. The emergency management down there, right there, you see the 300,000 for the construction of the tower. But the IT side of things, you know, there has to be, the fiber optics have to be moved. You know, they're kind of two separate projects that are one. IT replacement, computer replacements, 15,000, various computers, network switches, 24,000, various office furniture in town hall for 10,000. It was 15, it got cut back to 10. Land use map digitalization. Downstairs, if you walk down the stairs to the right, our HR manager is in the first office. The second office, which is a good sized office, is filled with maps. We're using it right now as a storage room. So the idea is we'd hire a company to come in, digitize the entire office, all the maps there, and then we'd have another conference room to use. So the other night when we were in that little conference room, maybe we'd stick someone else down there and we get our meeting room back. And then same topic. That the meeting room that we were in the other night, I think it needs an AV upgrade. So I've been talking to IT about putting that together for 25,000 there. Does anyone have any questions with any of that stuff?
No. You're just explaining these things now. We're not talking about whether we want to prioritize these or reduce these.
Well, this is
This
your
is
show.
the time,
This
yeah,
is the
this
time.
is the time to do it.
So what you're saying to us is, how much money do we have to play with for capital if we want to keep money reserved for cash?
Well, so so this budget, if everything is approved, if we approve everything on this list, right, as it currently sits, we need, instead of $750,000 I budgeted for capital, for cash to be used, we need $2.75 million. So there's a $2 million gap here.
Really?
For cash needs.
We
We
have to
could
cut
shift
$2
it to
million.
bonding, but then we're exacerbating it.
May
over
I
10,
ask you,
20
where's
years.
that money gonna come from?
Which money? The cash capital?
Yeah.
That is at the bottom part of the master spreadsheet, capital outlay. It's this 750,000 here. So it is. So there's capital projects. Really, the town has three funding sources: cash, leasing, and debt. So the town every year, last couple of years, the town uses about $500,000 of cash for capital projects. Other communities use millions of dollars in
Okay,
cash.
so is cash the same as the rainy day fund?
No, nope.
Oh,
This
thank
is
God.
this
Okay.
money gets set aside.
I started getting nervous, like, what's
Nope.
going
So
on?
this is tax dollars. So this right in the
Okay.
front sheet here. The operating budget's broken into 4 sections: town operations, which are all our conversations;
Okay.
the Board of Ed last night; debt service, that's just actually the payments; and then capital other is the cash capital. Right. So that's the one we really need to be building up. That should be about $2 million.
So if we're shifting towards cash capital, and currently we have $750,000
Proposed.
to work with, that would be 27% of what we need to make all of this work. So we're talking about getting rid of 3/4 of what's on here.
I wouldn't say get rid of.
Defer.
Shift funding sources. Really is what it comes down to. So in this proposal, in this capital project proposal, you can see this is zero. This 5-year funding source. In the past couple of years, last year this was 1.4 million that we used. We took out a lease for $1.4 million. We took out that lease at 4.5%. In the prior couple of years, it was fine when it was 1%, 1.5%. Now it's starting to hit the purse strings.
So we're trying to target
To get away
keep
from
it
that.
under $1.4 million.
If we have to take out, $750,000 lease this year, it's half of what we took out last year. So we're still trending in the right direction. This was kind of a draconian, attack.
Another option would be delay something too, though, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Or move some of these projects to the bonds, or So there's options here, but it's they weren't really anything I felt.
Forgive my ignorance. We're going to go through each line, hold it up to this standard and then vote on it. Is that what we're doing?
I don't know that we
This is
should
a-
go through line by line. I think we should
We can,
just take a few minutes and prioritize.
Yeah,
We read this.
Capital Improvement Committee.
Emergency. I mean, there are some things here that if we don't do, I think we would end up with some liability. Some of these things that have to do with public safety and,
so, right now, with the changes, the adjustments that I made, where are we right now on cash?
So, Dan, you made $3.3 million of cuts.
Yep,
That brought it down to 15.78 million total capital needs or requests. I just want to point out. Let me see if it got taken.
So we
15 million?
also have the one that
15 million.
The East Lyme Community Center roof.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about that
Okay.
again.
All right, good.
So, is Joe still here? He is,
Yeah.
Mr. Bergaw. And maybe you could speak to it better, Joe, on that project. But initially, we budgeted 2.3 million for the East Lyme Community Center roof replacement. And recently, we got an updated figure for 1.4 million. You have anything you want to add? Sure. I just don't know what to add there. It's a large dollar amount.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like the community center is 34 years old, original roof. I had a roofing expert looked at it and gave some different options. But we also, as you're well aware, we had the East Lyme Community feasibility study that was being done last year.
Yeah.
So I asked the architect that was doing that to present a report to what to do with the roof, and that's when it came back with the different options that I had as far as a standing seam metal roof that would be 50 years life, but this report recommended an asphalt shingle 30-year roof, which is at the lower amount, so that's the 1.4 instead of the 2.3, so savings of 900,000.
so I see the 2.3 for buildings and infrastructures under roofs. Is that the new figure, or is?
So you don't have this. This number was updated about an hour ago, Dan.
Okay.
Or, well, at this point, 3 hours ago. But
So that's an-
1.4 million. Yet we shaved off 900,000 from that project.
Okay.
Do I need to make a motion on that one then?
Yes.
Okay.
well, could we, Joe, could you go over that again, please? This is a big ticket item, and there's a big difference between a metal roof and the weight of the metal roof, and as opposed to the other more standard type roof?
Yeah. Thank you, because it is an important decision. It's an important building, so that's why there's different options. The metal seam roof it has a longer life, 50 years. Aesthetically, it looks very nice. The asphalt, it's hard to compare a 50-year useful life to 30-year. You have to do a life cycle analysis, and that's what this report did. So it showed even if we spent the lesser amount now, still from a life cycle cost, it would be better to go with the asphalt shingle roof, is what this report had said. So, the other thing is, we're not exactly sure what that building's going to be, and if you do the roof now, you'd have to strip it off. You have to replace the plywood. There's a lot to it, but at least if you had to do anything modifications with it, it's not going to be devastating if you already have an asphalt shingle to have to adjust something. But for right now, you have to do the roof because it's going to be leaking, and you can't wait another 5 years. We're going to have structural problems with that building if we don't do something soon.
Well, when is this feasibility study supposed to be completed?
It is complete. They're supposed to be coming to you guys in about a month. But
March 20th.
But the problem I want to say is you're going to hear numbers between 6 million to 12 million, so it kind of blows everything up. So I don't really think you can wait on that feasibility to realistically do anything about the roof. You got to fix the roof. And what better than the architect that did the feasibility study to do this study, because they know exactly what's in the report, and their recommendation is you need to do the roof. And this is so. And I can provide this to anyone on the board that wants to see this report, and we'll give it to the Board of Finance. But I specifically want to make sure this was done because it's that important of a decision for the town to make the right choice.
So if we had to do a priority list of projects, Is this number one on your suggested list?
Yes.
At the expense of some other lesser projects that we might undertake, put the money in this?
The town has to do this roof.
And the current roof that's on there, how long can we expect that?
It's already leaking.
Okay.
Right.
It should have been replaced last year. And I heard that, let's wait for the feasibility study to be done last year.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was on the capital plan for the last 3 years.
Do you have any idea, if we decided to go with this developer, what that company's work time is? Is this something that we'd be able to get done within this budget cycle?
We should be able to, yeah. This was done by an architect. An architect would put together the plans and put it out to bid. Who the contractor is to do it, I don't know, but it's a massive roof, but it's still a shingle roof. It's absolutely, to answer your question, yes, it could be done in the year, in the fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, I think it's very important that it get done sooner than later. I think the fact that it's asphalt shingles rather than the steel, in addition to saving a lot of money, it can be changed if there are, structural changes from that study. It's easier to take off asphalt shingles and cut in a roof or make some changes than it is a metal roof. That just from a practical standpoint, I think it makes a lot more sense.
Do you mind if I ask a question really
Yeah.
quickly? Dan, maybe you can answer it, and maybe Roseanne can answer it. Has there ever been a capital improvement committee that was created so that they could delineate and go through each and every single item? So, and I'm just curious because
What a great idea.
for myself,
Has
for
been.
myself,
There has been.
yeah, I think that it would
Passed,
go
and
a
it was
long
done
way.
through the Board of Finance.
I know that we've done it at I still can refer to us as we, but on the Board of Ed, we did it,
Yeah.
and we found it to be very, very successful. But I'm hard pressed on some things. I feel like we do need to go through each and every one of them, unfortunately, that's a lot of time, but, when you're looking at this type of budget, and you're talking about getting away from debt, right, and moving into cash, I totally get that. And then I'm also thinking about your own budgets for all of our budgets and all our community's budgets and how tasked everybody is on a daily basis, just in life now. I know for myself, if requisitions are coming in, I need this, I need that, and I'm like, yeah, it's not happening this year, it's not happening, we can't do it. So the things that are priority that need to get done, like roofs that are leaking, 100% they need to get done. But out of this entire list, there's something that could get put off, probably a few or more. And that would probably be wise to do.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Well, as I was saying, we did previously, quite a few years ago, we had a capital improvement subcommittee that worked through the Board of Finance.
Yes.
So, if I may, we have a finance intern in the finance office, and his task right now, his project for the semester, is to put together a capital improvement committee, present it to the Board of Selectmen, but he's incorporating the best practices from the Government Finance Officers Association. Okay. So there's a couple booklets that they have to kind of build a capital improvement committee. Okay. So he's summarizing those, putting them together, and hopefully we have him present to you guys first meeting in April.
That's excellent.
So we're looking at that,
Good.
and that's going to be
That's
a
excellent.
proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for this, in the here and now, we don't have that.
We don't have that.
Correct.
We're going to have it for next.
So if we're gonna get this done, we need to come up with strategy. Going line by line, we will be here till 1 a.m. And if that's the way it has to be, then that's the way it has to be.
I don't
Perhaps
think it has to be. I think we should say that we know the roof, how much money have we got left after we budget for the roof, how much money do we have left in this account to work with, and just go from there.
yeah, that sounds like a better alternative than going line by line by line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the roof gets us what, about almost halfway there? It saves almost $1 million?
1.4.
That
No,
we saved
no, it
900,000.
saved 900,000.
No, can we? There's two adjustments that have to be made here that I'd like Joe to talk about. One, it came up yesterday, the steep contribution. If we could talk about that, and then the McCook seawall. I think there was an update on that as well. Which one do you want to tackle, please, Dan? Yeah. I'll just let Joe speak. He knows what's going on.
Thank God for Joe.
So, Plants Dam, if everyone's up by the Rustic Cafe, there's that dam, it's in horrible shape. We were fortunate enough to get a $500,000 steep grant. In the approved capital plan last year, so at the town meeting last May, I think at the time we didn't have the steep grant, we put in $750,000 for fiscal year 25-26. We're talking about 24-25. The steep paperwork just came back like a day or two ago, and it looks like we can actually get that, now that we have the 500,000, we can actually proceed and try to get that dam rebuilt probably by next summer, but that's still within the fiscal year that we're talking about now, 24-25. So instead of it needing 250,000, which was sitting on thing, is we only need 93,000, but we really need to slide that into this 24-25 because that 93. Actually, we could really get away with 55. We need to put together the bid documents for that dam and get all the permitting in place. And then there's 40,000 just for the inspection and construction services and everything like that. So, but that just all came to us because of the steep documents.
4 hours ago.
Yeah, just
So
today.
that's not in here.
That is not. I just added it, but I wanted it to be known because this is something we're probably going to have to fund.
Well, on a positive note, we were sitting a year ago from having to pay $750,000 out of our phone. Now I'm asking for 93, and it'll be done.
Yeah, no,
It
that's
just
excellent.
the steep money's there, but the problem with these projects, every year you push them out, you lose the value of the money. So we want to get this thing rolling.
So are you saying that we have to spend the money and then get reimbursed?
The steep is, how does steep grants?
There's too many grants. I don't know.
I think we might have to spend the money and then get reimbursed.
I don't know exactly how steep.
Even if we have to do that, we can front $500,000 and then we get paid back.
We get paid back right away.
All right.
But I will tell you, though, the 95, I think 55 would really need to be in this 24-25. 40,000 could be slid into 25-26 for the construction services, but it'd be better to do the 95.
Okay, I think, yeah.
So should we redo this? Or should we make some notes tonight and then we
Yes.
can revisit it
Yes,
when we
are-
come back for our,
Yeah,
we
are
have to
ready for
schedule
this
another
tonight.
meeting anyhow.
Well, if we're going to schedule another meeting, should we have the department heads? I can invite the
Yes.
department heads because these are large amounts.
Yes.
I think we really need some help. This is too expensive. We need to
Yes,
narrow
thank
it
you.
down.
This is
and
the-
we need to
I
know
thought maybe
what's
it was just
on
me
this
'cause it's
list
my
that's
first.
emergency.
No, that's all.
I mean, the capital project budget is almost the same size as the town side operating budget.
Right.
So, we're going to spend a night on this, but we spend 5 nights, 6 nights on the operating piece.
So do we just want to suspend working on this tonight, wait till we get it, or do we want to go through it and
Start.
get?
You want to just give a quick little overview, and then any questions, we can have the department heads come back with answers?
That might be a good idea.
Just to spend a few minutes if anyone has any initial questions.
Well, maybe, I don't know, Joe, or or what are, and maybe, I don't know if you need department heads for this, what are the top priorities? What has to,
Every
you know what
department
I
head has
mean?
their own priority. Every
But
department head has
that's
their
what
own
I'm
list.
scared, if we bring them all in, they're all gonna be like, oh, this is,
Yeah.
this
That's
is,
what you'll- yes,
and that's what I'm
yes.
gonna get, and so, it's nice to have them come in, but on the other hand, everybody is a special interest group.
One of the
You know what I
tactics
mean?
that we had used quite a few years ago was asking the heads of schools to go back and review their budget and come back with less. You take it off. You take something off of your list. I don't know what it's going to be. But you take one thing off of your list. You cut it. That's an option, because first of all, it gives the control back to that head department. And let's face it, I know my own budget. That's kind of what I compare it to, just on a much larger scale, clearly. But there are things that you can do without. You do not need certain things, and then there are things that you do need. So, that is a thought.
Well, that would be good, then if they could prioritize themselves, their own list, so that we have something to work with.
I just want to mention one thing there. Any of the projects, so just so everyone's aware, anything that says LoCIP, it's a different
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's not that's not town tax dollars. That's us managing state dollars. So anything you see at LoCIP, we can juggle that around, but it's not affecting the tax rate. It all
Yeah.
comes out of our pockets, whether you wanted state money or town money. But anything.
I also think we need to know what are some things that are state mandates. I'm looking at this
Yes.
list.
That's true.
I'm
Yep.
looking at this list right at the start, and it says new ballot machines. New ballot machines. I think that falls under a state mandate that we are obligated to go to the new machines. But here again, we need to have that information brought to us. And certainly that's a high priority for
Right.
democracy.
Yep, absolutely. I can't agree more. Then again, like ADA compliance, right? So ding, ding, ding. So those types, yeah.
So
I mean,
maybe
those
that's
types of
the
things.
list, you say what's, state, town, mandated a priority, and what can come off if you had to choose one or two,
Yeah.
that, and then have them just give that to us. Cause I just feel if they all come, we're just gonna get, we need everything, and that doesn't
Otherwise,
really,
we're just
that
gonna
doesn't really
crash through
help
this
us.
and break stuff.
Yeah, but that doesn't really help us if they
I mean-
just come and just, give us, everything's urgent, and everything's needed.
So just to give everyone where the money of capital projects is derived from, this is the breakdown between the ask, the requested, and the first selectman line. So and this is, everything in public works is not all public works.
Yeah,
Sure.
But it's where, had to have its home. So
Does that include the 900 you set up?
that includes, I believe that's taken in
So-
15,788. It is not,
I
because that's
hear
a board
you.
of selectmen
I
cut.
hear you.
So we were discussing something, for the capital improvement projects for education, is that just Board of Finance that deals with that, or are we allowed to?
I'm not sure.
Do you
I know the
remember?
Board of Ed, operating budget cannot be, only be touched by the Board of Finance. I'm not sure about capital.
We can make recommendations.
We can make recommendations. I
But we
don't know
can't
if we have the
actually-
authority.
We don't, okay, all right, so we can make so,
So we
all right.
put forward our priority list.
Yeah, so we,
Like Lily Behanes, there's $4 million on that roof. Can we touch that? I don't know if we have the authority.
I think that honestly, that I went to their presentation
Yeah.
that when they had done it for the community a couple of weeks ago, and the first question that I had thrown out there was, everyone else is going to ask this question: how come that wasn't done during the renovations? And really, it was because of funding,
Right.
Yeah.
and it was right to do what we did at the time. But those things need to get done, right? Because if you don't, you're going to pay the piper when something happens. So it's almost as though if you don't invest in the roofs, on all
You'll pay for it
roofs,
eventually.
you
Yeah.
will, and it will come back to bite you tenfold.
Yeah.
Also, there's a reimbursement program with that, right?
There is,
40%.
and that's exactly
20%.
why. Yeah. So there are reimbursements, there are grants, there are things available to
something to look
specific
at the back
projects
page.
that we can put in for sure.
All right, so if we're talking about scheduling a special meeting to get department heads in here and to prioritize, just crazy idea, would there be enough time to do a subcommittee to what Candace was referring to, where we get together and we do prioritize this a little bit more and have something to say?
I think
present
it's
to
too
the
late
department.
for
It's
us.
too-
I
yeah, no,
honestly, I mean, I
it's
love
not
that,
too
late.
and
Yeah, we've gotta get
it's
the budget
definitely
by
in the
the
future, but I
13th.
think it's too
Yeah.
late now.
Yeah, we only have,
But I do like the idea of, giving that opportunity to
When is the 13th?
prospective heads to take a look
Wednesday.
at their
Oh, we got a
lists
week.
and prioritize, given
Okay, then.
the
I-
amount.
Well,
but
when
I
are we
don't
gonna
think I want them to come in here, because
Okay.
You
I
don't want them.
Well, the only reason I say that is because I think we're gonna just get,
yeah.
I need everything,
Right.
and this is urgent, and, you know what I mean? And I understand it, but
Well,
I think that's what we're gonna
We
get.
need
where-
some kind of input, even.
No, what I'm saying is, have them, email and say, hey, look, this is my priorities, this is something I can take out, this is state mandated, so they kind of go through it and, give us a bullet point under each one, so we have some way to understand it, to see what,
I see your point, Ann, I do.
We've already
But
heard
I
from
also-
them once.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
Come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this
Yeah.
is our task, I think.
And now we say to them, now we have to narrow it. We don't have the money for all this.
Yeah.
That's true. I just kind of come from more of this relationship-based type of mentality that, respect, goes both ways. And, to just say, here, come back or whatever, but I don't want to hear your voice or I don't want you to be here to have dialogue. To me, I just, I understand what you're saying. I don't navigate that way. I would prefer everybody to come in. I would prefer to have dialogue.
Well, we did. We already
you know.
had them come once. They all had the opportunity to come.
I understand that, Roseanne, but not on this.
We didn't really discuss
Not-
this. I
not
mean,
on
if,
this.
if
This
they
is
could,
different.
if they could come in then and kind of say, look, these are the priorities, this is state mandated, and kind of go through each thing, then that would be helpful, and I would be happy with that. I just don't want it to be,
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Overwhelming.
Like,
Yep.
where it's either overwhelming for us and then it's not helpful,
Sure.
because we have a task in front of us.
And we have a time constraint.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that was,
We have to get this done by really
Yeah.
the 12th.
Yep.
So, I mean, we've had input, I think there are a few items here that we can adjust, and I think we have to do the best we can with what we know. You can see where I've made cuts. And we've now got another, what was it, 950,000 we're saving on the roof, so that's significant. I think if we can carve out another 500,000, would that put us in, where would that put us? We would be bonding.
It's kind of
more.
multifaceted, right? Because like it's
But-
all about, really, I guess the first thing is what projects do you want, and then we worry about funding on the back end, or
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. I just want to say, this year I did roll out a work paper. We didn't put it in the budget workbooks because we didn't have 100% compliance, but we do have this capital project funding worksheet. If Mr. Locken's still behind me, he is. He filled this out, and so he did give us a priority list of his projects. What I can do is send this off to all the department heads, send them a copy of the capital projects, and then have them compile this with what's left for their capital project requests. Maybe have this turned around by Monday.
I know we have Joe here. What about if we moved out a year for the auto loader garbage truck? Could you live with that if we moved to the next year?
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of trash.
What?
I was going to say his favorite line: life, liberty, and the pursuit of trash.
No, I know, but that would, maybe if we could move it out a year.
The challenge is we're probably running about $20,000 to $30,000 for those older trucks a year in maintenance. So can you do it? Yes. You're spending a lot of money on that, keeping a truck on the road that you want to retire. So kind of, unfortunately, that's a lot of good money that you're kicking, but I get it. So
I mean,
the last garbage truck that we need to get rid of is on the fritz.
if you could live with that, I know you don't want that, but if we could push that out 1 year, that gets us 400,000. We've got 900, how many thousand did we save on the roof?
900,000.
900,000. That gets us, brings us down 1.5 million almost.
So I had that $400,000 garbage truck in the bonding because the garbage trucks last over 10 years.
Okay.
So it's eligible to bond. So that didn't help us out cash capital wise.
Yeah, but
But it helps out in totality. It does.
And the other thing is, if we're spending $40,000 a year to keep some of these things on the road,
Education.
that's not very smart either.
You can't.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, people, it's seeming to me like it's midnight.
All right.
We need to get going or
Okay.
get busy living and get busy
Why don't
dying.
we all have these, let's study them, and then let's try to make some good decisions.
That's the last one on the last page.
When we come back.
I can also say if anyone has any questions about any particular item, I believe you all have my emails. I'll give you all my cell phone numbers if you don't have it. In the next couple of days, if you have any questions, you can send them to me, and I'll field all the other department
And in
heads.
the meantime, you're going to send that form to,
Yep.
Okay.
I'll get that
All right.
form
and
sent
then we
out.
can see them.
So,
We can see
I
them.
want to be clear, is our goal to not do anything for bonding this year?
So it's a balance, right? It's either
Pretty
cash
much.
capital bonding or leases, right?
So this is still, this current proposal, Ms. Hardy, has $12 million of bonds. So, but remember this, we just bought the property for $2 million, and then we're rolling $6 million of bond anticipation notes. Those are prior year bonds that we didn't take out. So before we borrow this 12 million, we have to bond 8 million. So between that, if everything stands the way it is, we will be bonding $20 million this year. If all this is approved, we're bonding 20 million this year.
It's a lot.
It's a big
Are my
bond.
taxes gonna go up?
They're gonna
Well,
explode.
and I think that's a very fair question, and yeah.
But yeah, like, the value of 1 mil, I mean, if we pull up that front worksheet,
Here we
just,
go.
just so everyone, so, you know, full disclosure, a value of a mill is $2.8 million. So when we talk about a 20-year bond at $20 million, principal itself is $1 million a year. Then you're talking a 5% interest on $20 million.
Right.
So it's, I mean, that'd probably be $500,000 in itself.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to be responsible here, and I'm most certain that everyone else that's sitting here wants to do the very same thing, although I'm not speaking for that. When we bring something and we send it off to the Board of Finance, then they have to delineate everything. And I think that it's fair to say that, to be cognizant and to send forward a responsible budget that's palpable is where I want to be. I do.
Yeah.
That's it. It's fair.
Yeah, so we will, we'll suspend the discussion of the town budget, and we will we have to schedule a special meeting, and probably for Monday night?
Friday or Monday.
Friday or Monday.
You need
So,
24-hour notice.
Yeah, so,
Would it be better to try for Friday as opposed to waiting till the last day?
Everyone's out of here at noon by noon.
Oh, that's right.
You know, I'm saying, but the town hall's, you know,
Yeah,
it could be opened.
well,
I
we'll
don't
have to
you
go
know.
with Monday then.
What's the date of Monday?
The 11th, first night of Ramadan.
Oh. It's
so it's gonna be tight, but we're just gonna have to do our homework on that, and we're gonna make some decisions, and that'll be it.
yeah, okay,
Okay.
all right,
All right, so 3A then, let's look at
okay. Can I do a motion?
Thanks,
Read it?
guys.
Here. Thank you.
Thought the agenda was
Where
done.
did we go?
let's see. Discussion possible action, adopt the grant fund ordinance. Yeah, I think you have your,
No, can I just
Yeah.
borrow yours?
yeah, where's
Okay.
well, so, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just trying to remind you.
Look, wait a minute. Where'd they go?
Can you just read this before? I think I already read that, right? So I think we just have to move on it.
Okay, let's see. Can't find the.
Yeah, no, but I already, no, I have the motion, but we already read this, so I think I just have to make the motion on it.
Okay, yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
it,
I
just
think
to
we're good.
accept it.
Okay.
You have it?
Move the following. Resolve to enact the ordinance entitled Establishment of Grants Fund presented at the public hearing before the Board of Selectmen on March 6, 2024. The effective date of the ordinance shall be 10 days after newspaper publication of the notice of its adoption.
All right, do I have a second?
Second?
All right, any discussion? Those in favor of approving the grant fund ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. All right, we're gonna table the dock leases?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll table that. Any ex officios? All right. All right, and I'll, what's my first selectmen's report? It's Restaurant Week coming up from 3/7 to 3/16, and Sunday is Daylight Savings Time, and I want to recognize Lincoln Carlson, 2024 ECC Wrestling Award of Player of the Year, and he also won the state Class L title. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah,
In the open, in the
In the
open.
open.
yeah.
In the open.
Congratulations.
So congratulations to
So thank you,
Lincoln.
I appreciate that.
And,
We've
Okay,
got a-
we're
we've
very
got a
proud of them.
tremendous
So-
amount of, thank you.
so, yeah.
Thank you, but.
That's my,
Vikings.
That's my report. Any communications? Any public comment?
Can I just say something really quick? I
Yeah.
just want to give a huge shout out to the Brookside. They had a wonderful fundraiser down at Five Churches. Jason was there, myself went. There's a very good turnout, so that was really great. And hopefully
Yeah.
we'll have a few more.
Yeah, no, sorry I missed that. I couldn't make it that night, but it sounded like it was a great thing.
It was, they did a good job.
Yeah. All right, no communications, no public comment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn the regular meeting of March 6, 2024 at 8:36 PM.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I think we're adjourned.
For all-